I have a question for the panel, right quick. Relating to this, who here has ever been asked to train their replacement when they were trying to like outsource your role? Because it's happened to me before, so I wanted to see has it happened to anyone in the panel?
Not train them as a replacement for me, but train them as a replacement for my team that I didn't know they were about to lay off. So
Okay.
I have been in that situation, and then it was kind of too late when I called. I'm like, oh, hold on, this dude just moved over here to DC. Like, what's going on? Why he over here? And hold on, there's another one too. Like, oh dang, y'all laying my team off. Like, what's going on? So, but no, not for me directly as a replacement.
Okay.
I've had to come up with the documentation on how do we do this, because there was no documentation on how to do what I was doing with the company. And the person that was taking on the role, they were in the US, but they were from India. But about 98% of the team was in India. So I haven't necessarily like your replacement, but I have had to, you know, walk somebody through. This is how you do it.
Yeah, it was kind of odd for me. I will say that it was like getting on morning stand-ups and then having to get on a call with them to, oh, this is how you do this. So and then you get the news, okay, you gotta go. They're gonna be doing the tasks that you're gonna be doing.
Yeah, the crazy thing to
That's
me when
wicked.
you Man, crazy. The crazy thing to me when you consider it all realistically is remote work. And I feel like remote work in the US is kind of, the chink in the armor per se as a resolution to this, right? The crazy thing to me is that, Elon and Vivek are in charge of the new Department of Governmental Efficiency, right?
Yeah, Doge.
But they mentioned they want to get rid of the Department of Labor. They want to get rid of the Department of Education. It's like, bro, it's right there in your face. Y'all pushing people back into the office. Literally, if you go and look at these bigger tech companies, some of the smaller startups are doing this as well. Your pay is dependent on where you live. You fall within a zip code specific pay range. The easiest thing to do would be to create some type of federal subsidy around college, right? Provide some type of element around remote work. If you could establish a certain band of employees that are in lower cost of living areas. Send some folks to Mississippi. Send some folks to Tennessee. Send some folks to Alabama. You know what I'm saying? Pay those people within that specific pay range, as opposed to sending these jobs elsewhere. Because, in my opinion, as far as I have seen at the university level some differences in programmers and coders and cybersecurity analysts or whatever the case may be. But within the field on the day to day, I haven't necessarily seen, just that crazy, exponentially better aspect of work from people that come from other places. I would say we either par 1-to-1, or because of, the American context that we do have, are a little bit ahead. So I don't know. It's interesting to me, that they aren't looking into other arenas, specifically remote workers subsidizing some form of college for people that graduate with, tech degrees. That's an easy win, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Change this thing around.
And I was going to add too, one of the things I think about why they can also be cool with taking less money. It's like that cultural thing. Like when you think about like Mexicans, like down here in Texas, like you'll have 5-10 Mexicans staying in a spot together. I think when I worked like a couple of companies ago, there was like 4 of them that stayed in the house together, and they all had, careers. I'll probably making at least, $70,000-$80,000. And so 4 or 5 of them are staying in the house and they paying bills. So it's like they don't need to make $150,000. They just need to make 90. So that's a cultural thing. That's one of our issues where we won't stay together to build because of years of trauma and all that other.
They want us out at 18. Man, when I hit 18, when I hit 17, my mama started coming around scratching back her head like, what you finna do? You know what I'm
Might
saying?
ask you for some rent too.
Man, for real. My mom was like, you going to the military? What you gonna do? Football didn't work out for you. Sports didn't work out. So what's going on? I'm like, I'm going to college, But yeah, man, I don't know. That's where you get into that marginalized thought process.
Yo, if you're looking for a way to start your cybersecurity career, then check out Josh Metacor's course at Level Careers. He has a great cybersecurity course targeted for beginners, very affordable, and if you're familiar with Josh Metacor, he's also a brilliant YouTuber and puts out a lot of helpful content. So here are some of the reasons why you can choose cybersecurity: high demand, job security, competitive salary, work variety, and fulfilling work.
The national average salary of an information security analyst is $113,000. Overview of the course: theory introduction, security refresher, security frameworks, security regulations and standards, security operations signals. Then you have these great labs with Azure, logging and monitoring, Microsoft Signal, secure cloud configuration.
So if you're interested in a course, click the link in my bio and use my code to get 10% off your course.
Speaking of marginalized communities, that's a rare thing. I had a guy that I worked with at Georgia Tech, and I think he stayed with his parents. Bro, he stayed with his parents till he was like 31, 32. And yeah, he stayed with them forever. He lived in that they had like a basement fit out for him or whatever. He was making, I think, like 86, 87 with me at Georgia Tech, and he was paying his folks rent. His dad still works at IBM. I think he's on here. His dad still works at IBM to this day. His dad's like right below a VP, and he was paying his daddy, I think he said like $1,100 a month in rent. His daddy was keeping the money, right? I think it was his 31st or 30th birthday. His daddy gave him back all the money. He paid off his car. They bought in Atlanta, what's the park or whatever, the Loop. They bought a house, brand new build in the Loop, paid that thing off straight cash, paid his car out debt free, moved out. I'm like, bro, my folks, number one, that money would have been spent. I would have been paying their rent for real. I would have, money, tabs on the lights, tabs on the gas. You borrowed my car, you got to pay for that too. Man got a Tesla now. He about to buy a rental property next door to his first house. And he done got married and they still living in his first house. I'm like, bro, it's really like a thing that started at home, but in our situations, a lot of times, even for my wife as well, I speak for her as well, man, we be ready to get out the house. Like for real, be like, yo, this has been a, very, tight condition, but 16, 17, 18 years, like, bro, I'm finna boogie, as soon as I can. I'd rather go get it, get it out the mud myself and figure this thing out. But yeah, I don't know. I hope to be able to do that for my kids. So just have like a basement or like brother-in-law suite or something. Like, yo, come on back, till you had the kids, because I don't want no screaming. I'm past that part, but you can come back after college, and save up your money and work like that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I think in our community, it's kind of like, get it out the mud type of thing. Like it's almost the point where, like, I remember my dad would like offer me things, and I'm like, nah, I'll do it myself. I'm like, wait, that's really a blessing, right? Like, you know, especially because in our community, we think of it as like, oh, somebody got one up over on me when they give you something, or they can say, "Oh, well, I gave you this and this," and they kind of hold it over against you. But in other communities, they just kind of like, "Okay, well, I'm going to use these resources to be able to grow in my career or in life." At least
Yeah, we
that's
see
how
it.
it was for me.
We see it as enablement a lot of the times, unfortunately, just based off historical trauma. We see helping each other a lot of the times is us enabling each other instead of it actually being help.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
I also had like for me, my kids, they don't really ever gotta leave. I mean, they gotta leave. Like my son gonna have to leave eventually, but I'm not gonna kick them out. Like my parents, like of course I went to school, but they didn't ever like just kick me out and say, "Oh, you gotta find something to do." Like they didn't really come from that. Like just quick background on my dad's side of the family, like they have like a house where like all the kids stayed at once like my grandma moved down to the city. So like all the kids pretty much just split, like they ain't had no rent or nothing, just like utilities. And so they come from that. So they now the type of people to just kick you out there. And my mom and them same way and my grandma and grandpa house. So I plan to keep on that tradition. But man, Kenneth been real quiet up there, man.
Man, Kenneth up there studying for a cert or something. He locked in like, yo.
I know, man. If we was talking about public sandwiches, he'd probably be on it.
Funny enough, my parents, well, because I graduated during COVID, so I kind of had to stay home because everyone's dying, everything was shut down. So I stayed home for I think an extra 9 months. So my parents did not want me to leave. They were very shocked that I moved to Dallas. One, because I've never been to Dallas my entire life. My first time I went to Dallas was to look for an apartment. Second time was to actually move out there. Plus, I'm the baby in the family, so for me to move outside the house was like a massive shock towards them. But they always worry about me, even to this day, even though I'm grown man. So I could have technically stayed with my parents for as long as I wanted to, basically, until I got married and had kids. But I did kind of want to like explore on my own because I was with my family until I was 23. I went to school at USF, so I just stayed home for most of the time. I never got the chance to kind of like go out and experience my own little thing, right? Which is part of the reason why I went to move to Dallas for work.
Listen, man, 23,
Speaking of-
man, you gonna be able to keep me out. I'm like, no, I'm coming back. I went and had the baby. Now we coming back. Where we going to drop these bags at? Ain't no way. These bills is serious out here in the real world.